Let me even say, before I even get inaugurated, during the transition, we're going to be calling all of you in to help us shape the agenda. We're going to be having meetings all across the country with community organizations so that you have input into the agenda for the next presidency of the United States of America.
Senator Obama started out as a community organizer. ACORN is a huge association of community organizers. It is only natural that they would find each other. But these days, Senator Obama is keeping them at arm's length. How close is his relationship with this scandal-ridden group? Once again, Eric Shawn.
In 2007, Senator Barack Obama addressed ACORN and told them, quote, "I've been fighting alongside ACORN on issues you care about my entire career." And in February 2008, ACORN's Political Action Committee endorsed Obama for president. But his ties to ACORN have become a hot issue in the presidential race. Senator John McCain raised that when they clashed at the final debate.
We need to know the full extent of Senator Obama's relationship with ACORN, who is now on the verge of maybe perpetrating one of the greatest frauds in voter history in this country, maybe destroying the fabric of democracy.
The only involvement I've had with ACORN was I represented them alongside the U.S. Justice Department in making Illinois implement a motor voter law that helped people get registered at DMVs.
You sent $230,000 to ACORN.
He is talking about when Obama ran a foundation in Chicago. We will tell you more about that later. Since its founding, ACORN has been a very controversial group.
ACORN started in 1970 from a labor organizer named Wade Rathke, who was a disciple of the great community organizer Saul Alinsky. He was a radical organizer who wrote his book, Rules for Radicals. So ACORN is part and parcel of the community organizing movement that Barack Obama claims to come out of.
ACORN has since grown into a huge organization in 100 cities across the U.S. and with 400,000 members. It says its priorities include better housing for first-time homebuyers and tenants, living wages for low-pay workers, and more investment from banks and governments in what it calls our communities. Stanley Kurtz is a senior fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center. He has done extensive research on ACORN, and what he has written has been strongly critical of ACORN and Obama.
ACORN made a practice in the late 80s and early 90s of forcing banks to make these high-risk loans to low-credit customers. They would run a kind of intimidation campaign where they'd pour into the lobby of a bank, scare away the customers, and make the bankers capitulate.
ACORN was the primary force in making banks accept riskier mortgage loans, say Kurtz and other critics, all in the name of affordable housing. They claim that ACORN's practices helped contribute to the current financial meltdown.
They went to their lobbyists on Capitol Hill and forced their lobbyists to work on the Democratic Congress. And it was this alliance of ACORN and their Democratic friends in Congress that forced Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to loosen up credit standards in the whole banking system.
Foreign officials blame the country's economic problems on irresponsible financial institutions and the policies of predatory lenders. They scoff at the idea that ACORN contributed to the financial mess.
We were accused actually of creating the economic crisis that we are in. Last week we were accused of voter fraud. Maybe next week we will be accused of maybe global warming.
While the group has recently become a national lightning rod, it was different 2 decades ago when Barack Obama moved to Chicago.
When Barack Obama was a wet behind the ears community organizer in Chicago in the late 1980s, he ran into a woman named Madeline Talbot.
Madeline Talbot, a longtime director of ACORN in Chicago, according to Kurtz, was so impressed that she asked Obama to start training her staff.
Then when Barack Obama returned to Chicago after his time at law school, he actually started training the leadership of ACORN.
Obama's website, Fight the Smears, at first said that claim was a naked lie. Barack was never an ACORN trainer. Then Kurtz and others pointed to articles and news reports from the 1990s that depicted Obama as conducting, quote, classes for future leaders identified by ACORN. Fight the Smears then changed its claim to simply assert ACORN never hired Obama as a trainer, organizer, or any type of employee.
If elected President of the United States,
with Senator Obama's experience with ACORN, some wonder how close a President Obama would be to the group. He helped answer that question when he spoke to community organizers, including ACORN, in 2007.
Let me even say, before I even get inaugurated, during the transition, we're going to be calling all of you in to help us shape the agenda. We're going to be having meetings all across the country with community organizations so that you have input into the agenda for the next presidency of the United States of America.